that we're live. It's Monday, July the 20th, and you're watching the Botten and Klumm show.
That's right. Welcome back. If you are a viewer of some of our past shows, it's great to see you again. You'll know what to expect. If not, I hope you really enjoy this show. You're joining us for the first time. What we're trying to do here with Botten and Klumm is take digital out of the basement. We've got guests each week talking about how the digital world is impacting their lives, and that's taken on a special meaning in 2020, as you all know.
So we had a guest last time. So it's time for a little recap, Brian.
Yeah, let's recap. I every time we have one of our guests on, I just take away so much. I learn so much. And we had Rick Pearson, who's senior editor at Runner's World UK magazine, somebody I've run with many miles on the trails with that dude. And, he offered us a glimpse about what really sport and digital together can do. And he kind of left me with an interesting thought, Kai, about how sometimes it's good to just shed the technology, and something like running brings you back to nature, brings you closer to the flow state. And sometimes you don't want to think about the technology. Yep. And I thought that's pretty good if you can actually use technology, but not necessarily have to know that it's there. Then I think technology is really doing its human job, right?
So running can be something like a meditation practice for bringing you down. But I think the really good thing is that all this technology brings more people to run to the running. That it's a little addiction just before you're able to run, like you, for example, if it's not so exhausting anymore, something challenging. So we've got our recap, and have you seen my shirt?
It looks like you might be off on a little holiday.
Yeah, I think it's time for a little holiday, because we started our show on May 21st, May, June, July. So we are ran 16 shows in 2 months, and we had no clue before how much work this is to prepare this, to have the guests on the show. And now our guests, the upcoming guests, are already saying, oh, we love to come, but we are on a holiday, we are on vacation. And so we are going on vacation as well. And we're doing it exactly for 4 weeks. And we are back on Monday, August the 17th. And we will, of course, improve everything, think about it, and be even more present here.
That's right. Yeah, you'll see some new innovations and some new features for the show, because we're always thinking about that. But having a little break is always good, and I hope everybody else enjoys their summer.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking about, for me, I'm not used to holidays at all, because I've been an entrepreneur for such a long time. Now I'm with AXWAY, but still I'm not a holiday guy, and I have to do something, and I'm going to write on the book, The Digital Journeyman, Serving Damn Good Digital Advice on API Strategy or Digital Strategy. It's not only about APIs, it will be a 36 pages condensed digital wisdom book again, and I'm happy to have time to really enjoy it and to write it. And we'll present it, of course, here.
Yeah, sounds fantastic.
So the last show before the holiday, and we've got a fantastic guest again. It's actually a guy I know again for many years, and you wouldn't expect what you see right now. We've got Michael William Jones, who runs the British Cheese Shop, in a shop right, I think it's 3.5 kilometers from here, and the International Beer Bar in Zurich. Let's welcome Michael William Jones. Just wait a second, I have to click a bit. Here we are. Michael.
Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to Zurich.
So it's good to have you on the show. So
Great
I'm going to show our audience how this looks like. So just
that's my shop right behind me. We're in Markthalle im Viaduct. It's a gourmet food hall in the west side of Zurich, under the old railway arches, opened 10 years ago. And I have a shop selling British cheese, British beer, and other British food goodies as well.
This is so cool. I've been so often at your shop and so often at your beer bar. Tell us something about your shops.
Okay, well, the British Cheese Centre, we actually started 14 years ago and actually started online, just doing some small web sales and doing exhibitions and catering. Then 10 years ago, this market hall opened and we were offered prime position right at the front. And of course, so we took it. And I have the largest range of British cheese in the world outside of the UK. And it's all gourmet, specialty, artisan farm cheeses. There's no supermarket industrial cheese. And over the years, we expanded the offer to include beer and scones and clotted cream, things like that. And 5 years ago, not that I didn't have enough to do, I started the International Beer Bar, which is a craft beer bar just about 2 miles away from us here. And that obviously by the name, that specializes in more international beer. And I'm not involved in that now day to day. I'm still a silent partner, but it's still my baby.
Yeah. Well, you're making me homesick. I'm a weird specimen because I spent over half my life, most of my adult life, in the UK.
This brings me to a point. At some shows we're going to introduce, we have a little quiz at the beginning. And so since you, Brian, Botten, you are so good in bringing up accents, we're going to bring the quiz. And the quiz is guess the British accent.
Okay, we'll see what I can do. Some might do better than others, but here we go. All right, first one, Mike, is, all right, mate, it's great to have you on the show. It's dead good. We're really proud to have you. It's we've been running this show for about, 15 weeks. And we quite fancied somebody British on the show, actually. So where am I from?
That's a really good impersonation of a Liverpudlian.
Hey!
Hey! We've got one more.
Okay.
Yeah, go on then.
One more. So this is the second place. This is where I actually did my master's degree. And it's a city in the center of England. And I can only do it in a little old lady accent because that's how the ladies used to speak to me. They said, all right, how are you, me duck? Would you like a cheese butty, me duck?
Well, that's Midlands, so probably Birmingham, or it could be one of the other cities around.
Yeah,
around
very good.
There.
Yeah, Leicester. And Leicester, and they say Leicester. From Leicester. Yeah,
for a non-Brit, that's actually very good.
It's not Dick Van Dyke.
Still there.
Yeah, I try and avoid the Dick Van Dyke.
We've got eight. We've got 8 more. No, we've got 1 more.
Well done. Okay, that's it.
What? Do you have 1 more?
Nah, mate. Nah.
9. Okay, good. So when we,
that's right. Yeah, well, I grew. I spent a lot of my life living just near Croydon. So South.
Okay, South.
Yeah,
South London.
Mate. Yeah, Chelsea.
So we know us for years now from the British Cheese Centre and from the British Beer Bar. And I was wondering when the last time I sat with you, I said, I want to have you on the show because I want to learn how you survived the lockdown. I think it's super exciting to be a shop owner. How did it work? And what and all this stuff? Just tell us about it. It's
it was the middle of March. We were given from the Swiss government told that all bars and restaurants had to close. Food shops could stay open. So the International Beer Bar had to close completely. A small bar behind me here, the British Beer Corner, we couldn't serve beer to drink here in the market hall. So we lost 30-40% of our sales directly there. We could sell cheese to go, we could sell beer to go, but you couldn't consume here in the market hall. So the first thing, I had two strategies. One was really improve the offer on selling stuff to go. So we had a lot of barrels of beer which had just been delivered a few days before, the week before. We had to sell them, and we didn't know how long it would be before they would go off. So we started selling beer in 1 litre flasks. The craft beer scene, they call them growlers. It's just a reusable bottle, and that helped us move some of the beer we had in stock. Yeah, so 1 litre beer, and then the flask is good in the fridge for 3 or 4 days. So that helped us. We were sort of getting around that rule that we weren't allowed to serve beer here, so we weren't serving it, we were selling it to go. And the web shop, we started the business as a web shop 14 years ago, and it never really took off. apart from Christmas time when people wanted special cheese, Stilton and port wine and gifts as well to send to people. That's when it would really be busy. The rest of the year, it was maybe only 5% of our monthly turnover was internet sales. And I thought, this is something I have to me, it was like a challenge. You know, when you get a challenge in business, like, you know, the massive shutdown like this, it really inspires you to find a way of doing something different. So I revamped the web shop literally over 48 hours, added a lot of products on there. Including things like packs of beer from, 4 bottles of beer from one brewery for a special price. Cheese platters ready, made up, all in a little cardboard or a wooden disposable plate, ready for, you can eat it outside in the park or by the river for a picnic. And also we added instead of just having the web shop as a delivery service, we send by express post all the time. We had a button where people could order online, and if they were nervous about coming into a busy market hall with lots of people, there's a perceived risk of catching the infection, then there was a button, you just press it and it said, I want to collect. So they would pay online, they'd put their order in, and then we'd get the order come through and we'd prepare it. We'd click a reply button saying your order's ready whenever you want it. And they could just come in off the tram, come in and say, I've got order number 27, whatever, and it's all ready for them, and they could just take it away. And people felt really comfortable about that.
Wow.
And really in that first month, our web sales went from 5% of our turnover to about 30% of our turnover.
Wow.
That was for 2 reasons. One, the sales here went down 20% or so, 30% or so, but the web sales, they were 7 times higher than usual at that time.
Wow.
Now it's settled down a bit, but I'm still 2 or 3 times more web sales than I used to do this time last year.
Wow, that's fantastic. You just, that whole experience that you just related there, it's just fantastic what you were able to do. And it kind of brought out for me quite a lot of the digital economy themes that I think I've been talking about with other companies. And you mentioned things like product bundling, like the ability to very quickly assemble a bunch of stuff, anticipating what a customer is going to want to buy, maybe making it more attractive, making a better discounted price. All of that stuff is pretty easy to do when you're in the digital world. And then just like the experience, you introduced a feature that's actually thinking and anticipating the customer's experience, not just what they're going to buy, but their whole motivation. And you mentioned, if they felt uncomfortable, so you're actually thinking about your customers' sensitivities and their health, and you're caring for the customer by introducing a feature like that. It's pretty cool.
I've always had on my web shop, I call them tasting packs, and it's a 600-gram introduction to British cheese, 4 different cheeses, or a Scottish raw milk cheese tasting pack, or British blues with just blue cheeses. Yeah. And the most popular one, I call it the Cheeseman's Choice. And it's Cheeseman's Choice. The Cheeseman's Choice. And it's 1 kilo of cheeses, and I choose them for you. And that's really, really popular with Swiss customers, because Swiss customers, they say, well, we got maybe 30 different cheeses on the web shop. And they're like, well, I don't know them. I don't know what they are. But Michael, he really knows what he's doing. I've met him before. So let Michael choose what is best on the day. And then they get something hard, something soft, something blue, something smelly. And you get 6 different cheeses, 1 kilo, and it's 69 francs. And it's my personal choice. And that's by far the most popular. You're taking the in a way, you're taking a difficult choice away from the customer, just making it easy for them.
This is pretty cool. And the beautiful thing in Zurich and in Switzerland is that people are willing to pay for such quality, and they are willing to pay for such passion. So I think when we had these video sessions for serving up, I don't think so, it was exactly like that. We filmed a few episodes from Serving Up Digital of this show in the Viaduct, and so we've got tons of B-roll material. I've got one episode with you where it's not actually out there, we are working on it.
I remember,
but it was about your passion for the product as a shop, and for your products. What you're doing there, just the Cheeseman's Choice, for example, to take away the complexity of choosing, just doing it for you because they just trust you.
Exactly. Yeah. And here at the shop, I would often get nearly every Saturday I'll get some Swiss customers who are planning a dinner party, and they're having 6 guests over, so there's 8 people, and they're all Swiss friends, and they say, we want to serve your cheese tonight. Can you make a selection, 2 kilos of cheese? We'll go and get a coffee, and we'll go and get some pasta from the pasta shop or whatever. We'll be back in 10 minutes. And they just completely trust me that they know they're going to get. And we have these printed flyers. There's a map of Great Britain with all of the cheese regions on there, and they take them away with them, and they give them to their guests and say, this cheese comes from here, this cheese is from Yorkshire, where Michael's from. I always have to include a Yorkshire cheese. We're a Yorkshireman. And I know then in the next few weeks, those guests will come into the viaduct and said, we had this wonderful cheese at the dinner, and we want to have the same. And so, well, I'm sorry, this one's sold out, but I can recommend this one. And that's how you get word of mouth business. And
I just think you could do.
They have to trust you. You can't just give them something cheap and to fob them off. It has to be something spectacular. And one thing I've always said about when people say, how do I choose the cheeses in my shop? I say every cheese I have, it has to have a story, or more importantly, it has to have a wow factor. It has to have something where people taste and say, I've never tasted anything like this before.
So can you retell the story of my favorite Stilton?
The Stilton. Stilton. Well, yes, Stilton always goes back a long way. Stilton. I could talk for hours on this, but I'll cut it down a little bit.
Otherwise, I'll cut it down.
6 dairies allowed to make Stilton, and they're around the Stilton area. There's a village called Stilton, and they're allowed to make cheese there. That's another story, which I'll bore you with another time. So it's made in Leicestershire, Nottinghamshire, and Derbyshire, and in my opinion, the best Stilton is made at the 2 dairies in Nottinghamshire, Colston Bassett, Grupple Bishop. And about 20 years ago, they were making pasteurized Stilton and raw milk Stilton, and there was one producer made a bad batch of raw milk Stilton, and some people got sick, and there was a big backlash against raw milk Stilton. Margaret Thatcher was in power at the time, and she wanted to ban raw milk cheese making. Luckily, she was persuaded not to. But you can't get raw milk Stilton now. Stilton has to be made with pasteurized milk. But there's a guy about 8 or 9 years ago, we went to the Stilton Makers Association. He says, I'm going to make a raw milk Stilton. I want to be part of your association. And the Stilton Makers Association says, no, you can't. You can't make Stilton from raw milk. He says, no, I'm going to make one. This went on and on and on. And in the end, he says, but you can't call it Stilton. He said, okay, I'll call it something else. He calls it Stitchelton, which is it's a play on words, but it's similar to the ancient name of Stilton Village. And Brian, you'll like this. This guy is called Joe Schneider. He's from New York, and he gave it to New Yorkers. The Stilton Makers Association says, "Okay, I won't call it Stilton, but it is Stilton cheese.
Stilton,
It's stunning. It's really stunning cheese. And,
that's great.
We have it in stock now, and I think I'll be having some for my supper.
This is just so amazing. You teach us. And I think all the audience so much about passion, about, of course, I always say life is a pitch, about pitching a product, being one with the product, really breathe product. I think breathing Stilton is not so, but you know what I mean?
But the very passion too. I was just going to say, I mean, and everyone, I was kind of joking with the accents and doing that, but, Liverpool and Manchester have different accents, and they're just 25 miles down the motorway. And it's the same with the cheeses. I mean, you have, just such a small, comparatively to, American mentality, a small island. And then you've got so much variety of cheese just in one place. That blows my mind.
So this is a great opportunity. Just stop by in Mike's shop and to have a quarter glass of IPA and a piece of Stilton for lunch. This is just douche. This is amazing. I love it. From time,
you must be familiar with IPA, India Pale Ale, which originated in the British brewers in the 1800s, sending beer to India, and they had to make it stronger and more hoppy to last the journey. Just end of last year, I created a new style of beer called a YPA.
Wow.
And it's a Yorkshire Pale Ale. It's brewed with Yorkshire yeast, and it's brewed here in Zurich for me.
Wow.
And it's called, there we are, the Prince of Ales.
Prince of Ales.
And it's a YPA, a Yorkshire Pale Ale. got the Yorkshire flag.
Is that the white rose? Yeah.
That's me on horseback there. I'm the prince. And
This is so cool.
Creating something that is exclusive, and it is a very good beer. It really is a very good beer. And from 50 different beers I have, it's 40% of my beer sales.
Wow.
So what happened to all these barrels in the international beer bar during the lockdown? I'm really afraid that they got damaged or spoiled. Yeah, spoiled is right.
Spoils. Yeah. What you have to be careful of with beers is the hoppy beers, the IPAs and pale ales. They don't last long. The hops go stale, and unfortunately, we had to throw quite a bit of that away. Things like stouts, dark, strong beers, and sour beers. Sour beers are the new big thing at the moment. Put them in a cellar, and you can keep them for another couple of years, and they will improve. They're like a good red wine; they will improve over that time. But IPAs, hoppy beers, they won't at all. So here, all of my IPAs and pale ales, I was pushing those. They had to go out first. Luckily, we didn't have much wastage here.
So you were able to had a super high speed adoption to a completely changing environment. This is what we are facing, what we are doing, helping organizations to do exactly that. And you just did it. This is amazing to see how you adopted something new. What happened, for example, to the supply chain?
Oh, that's been a problem. First of all, the artisan cheesemakers in the UK, most of their customers, they don't supply supermarkets. Supermarkets don't sell that type of cheese. So the artisan cheesemakers, most of their customers were restaurants, and they all closed. So a lot of these artisan cheesemakers closed down. But also there was problems with transport. We use a groupage system where the importers, they put pallets of cheese and other products on chilled lorries, and we just pay this for the space of one pallet, if you like. And normally there'd be 2 or 3 trucks a week going between from Switzerland up through Europe, up to the UK, picking things up, dropping them off. And when that shutdown started, it went down to less than 1 a week or 1 every 2 weeks. And so it was very difficult to get hold of chilled cheese products. And in my cheese display here, we have 40 or 50 cheeses most of the time. At one point, about 2 months ago, we were down to 4 different cheeses. And that was painful.
But 4 perfect cheeses are still...
They would, but what happens then when people come, there's only 4 cheeses, they will buy 1. If you've got 40 cheeses, they'll buy 3 different ones.
Oh, cool. Good to know.
So this is what a product...
I didn't know that. I didn't know that before. It was only when we got down to 4, 5, 6, 7 different cheeses, we noticed that people were only buying 1, maximum 2 pieces. As soon as we got back up now to about 30 different cheeses now, it went back up to, I'm here, give me one of those and give me one of those.
Wow. So that to me is a lesson that you, as functioning as a product manager, you're not just thinking about the supply, as we were talking about the supply chain and sourcing it, and then maybe even in the case of your beer, producing a new product. You're actually thinking about the consumption all the time. You're thinking about the customer, the patterns, what are they consuming, what are they liking, and anticipating what they're going to like next.
Yeah, you have to have that balance of different products and the chutneys that go with it and the crackers that go with it. We couldn't get any crackers for 2 months, and
oh wow,
all sorts of.
That would drive you crackers, I think.
So
it was a very difficult time. Yeah.
We've got a connection to IPAs because usually we ran API programs, and so we've got this work claim. So we created already an API IPA on a conference in San Francisco, I think years ago. And so once you brought up this wrong spelling of API, say IPA, it's just it just goes. I don't know. We had a beep somewhere.
Okay.
Any telephone? Oh, this is a good time to call me. Perfect. Thank you. So just popped up on my screen. So we had API, IPA, and so it's always a running gag. I think many people in the API business love IPA because it interrelates somehow.
Yeah.
So life is a pitch, and you're showing it so perfectly. And so since this is a holiday episode, we're just diving into our 4 hours, 4 weeks holiday. I would love to hear at least a pitch on one beer. It's so good to listen to. It's so good to listen to
a pitch of one beer, the type of beer.
Yeah.
Oh, great. You've put me on the spot now. Let me.
It's getting inspiration now from the.
I'll be back.
Section.
I'm gonna switch to the.
We've got some. Give me a bottle of hug. Give me a bottle of hug.
Look. So
Look at that.
And over here.
Live.
So live. Now the pitch.
Here we go.
Here we are. So we have this in our cheese fridge.
Yeah.
And customers see it and they say, "Is that a prosecco? Is that a wine? What is it?" I says, "No, it's a beer." And now he's a friend of mine. He's a Swiss guy just outside Zurich, and his brother is a chef, and they brew beer 50 liters at a time. It's an absolutely tiny production.
Wow.
And they call it the Hug beer. This one is the limited edition New England IPA, unfiltered. Ooh. And it's expensive. I have to say it's expensive. This is 25 francs a bottle, so pretty much the same in US dollars. In euros, that's about 22, 23 euros a bottle. It's really expensive. But one Swiss customer bought one a few weeks back. He loved it so much. He came back. He says, "Can I order 24 bottles?" Yeah. That's how impressed he was with it. So that's my sales pitch.
And then he gave you a big hug, I bet.
And you get a hug.
Yeah.
He doesn't like a hug.
No, but I think with such beers, you don't drink 12 bottles or something like this. So you drink one from small.
One bottle a night. Yeah.
And not alone. You're doing it with friends, and it's really special. Just
wow.
To be able to taste something like this. So it's always impressive. Whenever I'm in your shop.
This talk has made me thirsty, so I'm going to be back.
Same.
So I've just been handed, if you don't mind. This is my YPA on tap, my own beer, my Prince of Wales.
Prince of Wales.
The Prince of Wales. Cheers.
That helped.
So we had in Switzerland, a relatively relaxed lockdown decision, and so people could just take away the stuff and eat it outside at the river limit. We had a fantastic weather at this time. I can't imagine the situation, for example, of France, or where they had this brutal lockdown where you couldn't even get out of the door.
Yeah, so the Swiss government, they're really well balanced on, and generally Swiss people, they follow the rules. They know, okay, this is we trust the government. It's and it's 99% will follow it. Whereas you see in the UK and the US, and they say no, this is a conspiracy, and we're not gonna. Yeah, we're not gonna follow the rules. Mm-hmm.
This is really funny because at first it was they led it to the customers or to the people to decide if they're wearing a mask in public transport, and nobody was wearing a mask. And now since 3 weeks, it's a law, and it's so easy and it's relaxed to go with public transport. I think this is a model for other countries, other cities, whatever. It's just, it feels safe and it's a good thing. So, by the way, the last question. The time is flying again. The last question is always.
We always ask, what is your next big, Kai?
Thing.
I've got an idea. My girlfriend is Dutch, and I spend some time in the Netherlands, and I'm learning about Dutch cheese now. The slight problem with Dutch cheese is it's too similar to Swiss cheese. There's not that differentiation, whereas British cheese is very different. But I have an idea about offering the best of European cheeses. So British, Swiss, French, some Dutch, some Italian from time to time, and every month doing a 2-kilo specialty pack, the Cheeseman's Choice, again, but on an international level, and sending that by FedEx or whatever around the world. So targeting, emerging markets, Russia, China. China's a massive potential market for cheese. South America. So I've got some idea on that, but that's
so
expanding. Yeah.
Now we're talking about scaling.
Yeah,
you're scaling your business. This is just fantastic. You're a model to so many businesses, digital or not business, not digital, just how you're doing it with your fantastic shop. And we're humbled to have you on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed this. My first live TV appearance. Is it TV or
it's kind of TV? It's kind of CNN, CNBC. We are on the same level. Al Jazeera.
On the same level, yeah.
That's great.
So you really made me homesick too. So it was really nice to have you.
Next time you're in Switzerland. Brian.
Yeah.
Head down and see us.
As soon as we can, we'll get over there. We were supposed to be in England with the family. We've still got kids in London, and so we were supposed to be there for a good part of the summer, and it just couldn't happen. Right. So as soon as we can, we'll get over there.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Great.
So I'm going to close the show now, but because this is our holiday episode and we won't be here for 4 weeks, I'm going to say thanks to all our guests and just maybe calling them by name. We had Nizar Shaouj, we had Nick Katzivelos, Alan Knabe, Alan Glickenhaus at the 4th show, Alan Glickenhaus again at the 5th show. Do you want to talk about this? No, you won't.
No, skip that. That was the lost episode.
The lost episode. We will remember it for years.
I'm on television.
We had Amancio Buza, we had Todd Holbrook, we had Matt Chalmers, we had Uli Hitzel, we had Stefania Pinzone, Andrea Zulian, Vasanta Rekuna from Sri Lanka, and then we had the Botten and Klumm live at the Agile CIO Leadership Forum. Then we had Cecile Mazulet, Sandro Giuliani, Rick Pearson on the last show, and today the amazing Michael William Jones.
Yes.
And these were only 2 months, and we're going to continue in this cadence in 4 weeks on Monday, August 17th. I'm going to say bye to everyone.
I'll be there.
Yeah, perfect.
Bye, everyone.
You know what? Thanks. You know where I'm heading now, Michael?
I can guess.
Okay. I think it's 2,600 meters from here. I'm going to take the tram. We're going to have a beer very soon. Bye to everyone. See you.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
see you.
Bye.